This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
As they turn for home, they went the mile in 1:37.2. Songbird on the inside. Now Mike Smith asking for a bit more. On the outside, Martini Glass is still making a race of it, as is Line of Best Fit. It's Songbird digging in. Martini Glass is trying for the huge upset. Songbird is digging down. She's got Martini Glass, it appears. Rick Porter, you can go to the winner's circle. Songbird's going to win the Delaware Handicap.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Cusano. On this morning's show, we'll look back at the amazing Songbird in the Delaware Handicap. We'll recap the pair of stakes from opening day here at Saratoga, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming stakes action, and we will welcome in a pair of very special guests, beginning in a few moments with Mr. Saul Kuhlman, one of the very fortunate owners of Lady Eli, who starts later today in the Diana. He will be followed by Mr. Jimmy Barnes, the top assistant to Bob Baffert. We will talk about Abel Tasman for tomorrow's coaching club, more spirit, the possibility of West Coast coming for the Travers. Oh, and we'll probably chat about the best dirt horse in the world as well. Along the way, we'll take a look at several Dianas of the past to the internal break. So all of that and much, much more. If you stay with us for this, our July 22nd edition of the program, which is being sponsored by Pinnell's Restaurant, celebrating an amazing 95 years in business, 284 Jefferson Street in Saratoga. And our guest segments are being sponsored by Jacob and Anthony's American Grill at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. Good morning once again. Welcome to day 2 of the 149th meeting of racing here at beautiful and historic Saratoga. Welcome to our second of 8 shows here on the backstretch at the spa. For those of you unfamiliar with Down the Stretch, we've been here now for a little more than 25 years, and we've got 7 shows to go here at Saratoga. Good, solid opening day for the New York Racing Association, as better than 32,700 turned out on a lovely, warm summer Friday here in Saratoga. All right, some sad news as we kick off this morning's show. Ben's cat, who was retired earlier this year at the age of 11 by King Leatherberry, died this past week after having undergone colic surgery. Ben's cat competed for 8 years. He won an amazing 26 stakes races, about $2.6 million, and was named Maryland's Horse of the Year 4 times. Ben's cat dead at the age of 11. And Classic Empire, one of the most talented members of his crop, and quite possibly the most challenging to train, will miss a scheduled start in the Haskell and instead train up to the Travers. Mark Hassey and his son Norman, the latter who was one of our guests last week, have simply run out of time with last year's champ as far as getting him prepared for the Haskell. He's just not cooperating enough. Now the Cassies will now face another challenge, as they will attempt to train Classic Empire to the Travers while not having raced since a tough luck loss in the Preakness 14 weeks earlier. And that will be a challenge. All right. From one former juvenile champion to another, Songbird in the Delaware Handicap, the 2-time Eclipse Award winner, making her second start of the year here, second in going a mile and a quarter. And while her rivals in here did not appear very challenging, getting the 10 furlongs over the somewhat deeper Delaware Strip off just a single race since last November, well, that's where the challenge was for Songbird. Jerry Hollendorfer, and Mike Smith. She's setting the pace in here, appears comfortable with the eventual runner-up, number 2, Martini Glass, in closest pursuit along the rail. Now, Martini Glass is a non-stakes winner. She came into the Del Cap in the finest form of her career and was in receipt of 8 pounds. But folks, this is Songbird we're talking about. And while 1.25 miles is not Songbird's best distance, yes, I know she won the Alabama here going 10 furlongs, but I'm very confident in saying 1.25 miles is not her best distance. Now, I don't know, it looked to me like Songbird struggled with the surface a bit, and I really hope she did, because if she didn't, the 1-length score over Martini Glass, wasn't anything to write home about. It was certainly far more workmanlike than anything. But Songbird is now 2 for 2 in 2017, so she's just getting her year started. And she has certainly every right to improve. But her pair of victories this year, the first coming in the Ogden Phipps, not exactly overwhelming. But this is such a wonderful filly. Her 9th Grade 1 victory. She is now 13 for 14 in her career. The only defeat coming in that epic battle in last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff to Beholder. She's earned about $4.5 million. And the personal ensign here at Saratoga at the end of August remains a solid possibility for the very, very talented Songbird. And we hope to see her here at the end of August. Yesterday, opening day at Saratoga, and a pair of stakes to get the meet kicked off in the Schuylerville for 2-year-old fillies. Dream It Is, a Woodbine shipper for Barbara Minshaw and Luis Contreras, dominated, winning off by 9 lengths despite racing on the wrong lead. It was her first ever race on dirt after a pair of victories on the synthetic at Woodbine. Minshaw, who was the first and maybe the only female trainer to win a Canadian Triple Crown race, won her first ever race at Saratoga. She doesn't ship often, but she sure picked the right time to travel for yesterday's Schuylerville. In the co-featured Lake George, it was Kentucky shipper Proctor's Ledge, scoring by a handy length and 3/4 over Party Boat. Proctor's Ledge, first-time Lasix, first-time Javier Castellano, gave trainer Brendan Walsh his first ever victory here at the Spa. Congratulations to Brendan, who is enjoying his finest year ever. All right, just shy of $19 million in stakes purses up for grabs here at the 2017 Saratoga meet. Let's take a look at the stakes action over the upcoming week, beginning this afternoon with a stakes doubleheader of the Diana and the Sanford, and of course, in the Diana, Lady Eli heads a field of a half dozen. Tomorrow, the Coaching Club American Oaks. It's Abel Tasman and Salty round 3. On Monday, the Caress, a turf sprint, features a good-sized field. Next Wednesday, the Honorable Miss, where Paula's Silver Lining will figure tough to beat. Next Thursday, the John Morrissey and the A.P. Smithwick. In the Morrissey, 7-year-old Weekend Hideaway is scheduled to run. Next Friday is the Curlin for 3-year-olds, and then next Saturday, 4 big stakes headed by the Jim Dandy. Derby winner Always Dreaming and Preakness Hero Cloud Computing, pointing to the Jim Dandy. The Amsterdam and the Vanderbilt sprints, and the Bowling Green as well. A terrific card coming up next Saturday. There is the stakes action over the next week at Saratoga. And we are up to our first break on our July 22nd edition of the program. Thank you so much for having joined us. When we return, Mr. Saul Kuhlman will join us as we go to the break. The Diana handicap of 2,000. The winner would go on to earn championship honors. So we'll take a look at the 2,000 Diana to the break. Back with Saul Kuhlman right after these messages.
They're in the gate, and they're off. License fee. Out first, a license fee to establish the early lead, moving easily in the early stages here with Idle Rich. Cold Star coming up from the far outside. Perfect Sting is reined in. Fictitious is trying to angle over toward the rail. Hello Soso occupying that spot now. And Pico Tenerife, it's a tight pack, easy pace into the first turn. The leader is License Fee. Idle Rich is prompting from the outside through a quarter that goes in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Cold Star 3 wide round the first turn. Fictitious in between horses. Hello Soso toward the inside. The favorite Perfect Sting is now about 4 lengths from the lead and off the hedge. 2 lengths back to Pico Tenerife, who's allowed to trail the field in the early stages here. Moving down the backstretch, it is License Fee in front. Mild pressure from Idle Rich through a half in 47 and 4/5 seconds. Then Cold Star. Perfect Sting in the clear now with about a half mile remaining. Then it's Fictitious is in between horses. Hello Soso's had a ground-saving trip throughout, and the trailer Pico Tenerife. The field moving into the far turn. It's still License Fee and narrow lead. Idle Rich is running in second, followed by Fictitious. Perfect Sting dropped off the pace going into the turn, but now here she comes. They're coming to the top of the stretch. It is License Fee with the narrow lead. Perfect Sting is there on the outside. Idle Rich is in between them. Hello Soso bottled up down toward the inside. Cold Star and Fictitious into the final furlong now. License Fee clinging to a narrow lead. Perfect Sting right alongside. License Fee is very game. Perfect Sting is there, and now she's in front. It is Perfect Sting in front. License Fee and Hello Soso. Perfect Sting. A perfect string of 4 victories this year. License Fee and Hello Soso.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Equestricon.
The first ever international racing convention.
First ever. For the fans. With the fans. The breeders, the owners.
The horse players.
The jockeys like me.
Come celebrate racing at Equestricon.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cusano, and Perfect Sting for Joe Orsino and Jerry Bailey wins the 2000 Diana on her way to an Eclipse Award as the nation's finest turf female. Well, speaking of finest turf females, our first guest founded Sheep Pond Partners. They happen to own none other than the amazing Lady Eli, who starts later today in the Diana here at Saratoga. We are so pleased to welcome to Down the Stretch Mr. Saul Kuhlman. Saul, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you.
It's pretty nice to be here.
So, what's it like to have owned an amazing filly like Lady Eli?
It's been incredible. I mean, you just feel lucky. I mean, this is one of those once in a lifetime horses, and we were fortunate enough to really have her as one of our first horses we ever owned. So you want to find a way to get hooked on a sport. Buy 4 horses and have Lady Eli be one of them, and you make it. You think it's easzy.
It's not supposed to be this easy, no. And it isn't. Who are the other partners, major partners involved?
Jay Hanley is my main partner, and we have 2 other buddies of ours who are partners of ours as well, but they go anonymous. So it's really Jay and I that run it together.
She debuted here at Saratoga, won a very exciting race. So you had to know early on that you had a pretty special filly.
Yeah, so in that first group, ironically, we bought four horses, 2 male and 2 female, and 3 of the 4 that year went to the Breeders' Cup, which was pretty crazy. And we had one that we actually thought was the better of the 2 fillies, was a horse called Tammy the Torpedo.
Yeah.
Ended up winning a couple of grade 3s, I think, and we sold her at the end of last year. And she ran first before Lady Eli at Saratoga, and Tammy ran in the race. She won. We're like, wow, this is great. Come up to Saratoga for the day, you win a race. And Chad, whispered over into my ear, and between Jay and I afterwards, and he said, "You have one in the barn that will rip her." I'm not going to swear, but rip her throat out.
Yeah.
So we sort of looked at him, and I'm like, "Wow, that one looked pretty good to me." I'm like, "This is great." So I think right away, we knew we had a great horse. But to be honest with you, Jay knew more about the sport than I did for sure. I didn't really know what I was doing. So for us, having a great horse, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what the Breeders' Cup was. I mean, I didn't know anything. So we just kind of kept showing up, and the horse kept winning. And I'm like, well, this is awesome. This is so much fun. And then over time, I've gotten myself buried nice and deeply over the last few years, really getting involved. But so I'd say the nice part of it was, people would come up to you and say, "That's a special horse. That's a special horse." And now, after been doing this for 3 years, now I know how much of a special horse this is for lots of reasons, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But we just were extremely lucky, and really didn't understand how lucky we were probably until the last few years.
Well, she followed the maiden win here at Saratoga by winning a stakes at Belmont, the Miss Grillo, and then it was off to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. As we pick it up, Lady Eli is number 4. She will be 4th along the inside. She parlayed a perfect trip in here into a powerful victory. Saul, what was this moment like?
It was incredible. I mean, it was really one of the great feelings we've had in racing. And the race was out at Santa Anita. I think between Jay and I, we probably had 30, 40 friends with us. My parents, my wife, my Kimmy. It was just an awesome day. And just watching that turn of foot when she turned for home, you just had that kind of take your breath away moment where you really realized how special she was and how fortunate we were. But it was it doesn't really get better than this.
And this is serious stuff. She's not only beating international competition, she thrashed them.
Yeah, it was that race was pretty impressive. Really the first 5 or 6 races, you just were like, my God. But that one in particular was amazing.
She came back, started her 3-year-old season equally as brilliantly, and the first time Chad stretched her out in the Belmont Oaks, I mean, you never know how a young filly is going to handle the stretch out, but she handled it beautifully. Magnificent performance in winning the Belmont Oaks, but then things went bad. Yep. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so after that race, obviously you're about as high as you can be, right? I mean, she was 6-0. I think she was probably definitely the best 3-year-old turf filly around, and people were telling us she was one of the best in the world. And you sort of think about your year and where we're going to go next, and you never really think about what can go wrong. We got a call from Chad, and he said, "Look, we had a little accident with her. She stepped on a nail on her way back from her drug test, and then nail, obviously shouldn't have been there, but it happens, can happen to anybody. But I think she's okay." So you sort of go through motion of you kind of a little bit angry, but then you're like, okay, stuff happens in everything. Then you find out that he calls you a couple days later, and he says, "Look, I got some bad news." He said we had to treat the nail aggressively so she'd have an infection, and it turned out she's now got a disease called laminitis. And I could remember getting on the phone with him, and I'm like, it doesn't sound good, but I don't know what laminitis is. So I can remember coming home with my wife, who Lady Eli's named after, and just we're zipping through the internet on our iPads in bed looking up laminitis, and I'll tell you, it doesn't read well. So you all of a sudden go from thinking, my gosh, all I want is this poor filly to live, and then that changes. Then you're hoping she's going to live, and she did, and she kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and we can obviously get into it, but it was you felt every emotion, right? I mean, I went to Chad's barn immediately. Jay came as well. Chad was there, with his assistant Cherie, basically sleeping in the barn, soaking her, legs in ice buckets 24 hours a day. I mean, they were basically treating this horse like we would treat one of our kids if they were sick, right? You had that pit in your stomach, and we were scared. We were really scared for her life.
So there was a time when you and Jay were thinking she may not make it.
Oh, for sure. There were weeks where we thought she was not going to make it, and there were specific nights that we thought there was a very high probability she would make it. So, you feel those lows, which this business can do to you, and those highs, which there's nothing better on earth, right? So, and we've, with this horse in particular, have really felt the lows and the highs, and it was tough, but watching her come back, you sort of realize how much of this sport for these horses is mental toughness, and she is tough. And I think Jay and I were extremely cautious about trying to push her to come back, right? I mean, if she'd given us all we could have ever asked for, and we never wanted to put her safety in jeopardy, and we went slow and took our time, and after 8, 10, 12 months she wanted to do more, and so we had a couple fits and starts getting her back in shape, but Chad kept saying, look, I think she's going to be able to run. And so you sort of think to yourself, look, if first you're worried she's going to live, and then when you realize she might live, people kept telling you, look, she'll never come back and race. Now we're thinking maybe she's going to come back and race, and then people tell you, look, if she comes back and races, that's incrable, but she'll never be elite again.
Absolutely.
And so until she kind of came back to the Boston Spa race, you didn't know. I mean, Chad said she was training great, but you just don't know until they get out there and do it. And obviously, she's been able to come back to form.
The recovery from laminitis, amazing in itself, but to have come all the way back and to sustain that tremendous level of ability that she's always had, you guys were extremely fortunate. I mean, talk about the job the vets did, as well as Chad and his staff.
It was unbelievable. I mean, we had two different people working on her feet, and we were one was in Kentucky, one was in New York. Brian was flying back and forth, and Chad and his staff was spending they were spending an unbelievable amount of time with her, trying to get her back to to form. And I think for Chad, this is as special of a horse as he's ever trained. You look at Chad's barn now, and he's the favorite in almost every grade one that you see. I mean, just what I've seen happen to his stable in the last 3 years is remarkable. He's built an incredible business for himself, and with some great owners and a tremendous team. But this horse has a soft spot, I think, for all of us. And even you look at all of his horses. I think this one is one he'll obviously he'll never forget when her career is over. So it's you can't thank him enough. You can't thank his staff enough. The vets, the doctors, most importantly the guys that were spending the time on her feet, because that was really what our biggest worry was. And we're just extremely fortunate that she was able to fight through. But that really just tells you a lot about her. I mean, her perseverance and toughness is something that if I could find in a human, it would be the first person I'd hire to come work at our firm. So we're always looking for him.
Well, she made it all the way back. You made it back to Santa Anita for the 2016 Breeders' Cup. This is the filly and mare turf as we pick it up. Lady Eli, number 8. Fourth from last at the bottom of your screen. Sal, when I interviewed Chad a couple of weeks after this race, he said this was the worst beat of his entire life. This was brutal. What was your feeling?
This was the worst beat of my entire life. I mean, it was so tough. I mean, this day I ran second in 3 Breeders' Cup races this day. So I had, it was just one of those days where you're happy your horse is fired, but I went home and wanted to cry. I couldn't go out to dinner that night. But this is the one that really, really hurt. I mean, she turned for home, and you kind of thought you were there, and it was actually an incredible ride by Frankie Dettori.
Yes, it was.
He really kind of pinned the whole race off her, and you still thought he was going to hold on, but there was a moment where you said, "Oh my gosh, I think we might get beat." And I remember watching the replay there, the photo, and at first, I'm like, "Oh, we got beat." And then when I saw the replay, I'm like, "Actually, we might have gotten the nose in." You start to get excited again, and then I watched it again. I'm like, "I think we got beat." So it hurt. It took a long time to recover from that one, but again, this sport, you gotta, you lose a lot more than you win, and you got to be a good sport.
Not with her, but normally, yes.
But normally, listen, it's a tough game, and again, as we said before, the lows are low, and that was one of those nights where you kind of went home and you're just like, God, one knows, this would feel a lot different today.
Welcome to reality.
Exactly.
Now, originally, she was entered for the Keeneland November sale.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for all of us as fans, and hopefully fortunately for you as the owner, she didn't go to the sale.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we did it more for I call it insurance purposes, just in case she wasn't going to be able to come back at a high level. We wanted to make sure that we were positioned to do it. I think our plan all along was to run her this year if she continued to want to run. Our plan now again is to sell her at the end of this year. We will get together with the partners and Chad and have a discussion on kind of what to do and make a decision. Most likely it's probably the right move would be to run her the kind of 3 more times if she's obviously assuming she stays sound, and then in this race, and then again in the Flower Bowl, and then finish up with the Breeders' Cup. We're not 100% sure, but that's what our game plan is, and we'll discuss it. And there's no pressure kind of either way.
Right.
It's hard obviously to sell a horse like this, at any point. But we're trying to run a profitable racing stable, and for us this is real capital that we can bring back in and recycle and hopefully try to find the next Lady Eli, or maybe something in the same stratosphere, but not her. And
if you can find the next one, please let me know, because I'll get my allowance from my wife, because I want to get involved.
I will.
All right, her race coming into the Diana was the Gamely out at Santa Anita on May 27th. Here it is, Lady Eli, number 6. So she was forced to sit closer to the pace this day than she normally does because of the short field and the fact that Avenge, the number 1 filly from Richard Mandela, was the lone speed, and she's a high-quality filly. So Lady Eli forced to race closer to the pace. Most thoroughbreds, and I can safely say this after being in this game for as long as I have, most thoroughbreds, when you ask them to change their running style, they just can't race up to their normal level of ability. That wasn't the case for Lady Eli. She stalked a pace, she did the dirty work, held off a late closer, Good Year for Roses, in the stretch. This was a big win for her.
It was a big win. It was a big win. It was the right spot, I think, to send her to the race. We really struggled with the idea of sending her to California just because of the ship both ways. And I was really nervous during the race because she was just in a spot, to your point, that we weren't used to seeing her in. And there was some real pace. I mean, they were going, I think, 23 and change. I saw a Good Year for Roses coming up the side, and I had flashes back of that Breeders' Cup race that you had just brought up, and also the Jenny Wiley, where we kind of got caught on the wire on the outside, on the right hand side. So I would until we won, I was, during the race, I wasn't thrilled with where we were, but it was a great move by Irad. He realized the pace situation. I think that's one of the things that the really good jockeys can do. They're able to understand the race and the makeup of the race and put the horse in the right position, and he did, and she held the horse off, and it was a great win. So we'll see how she bounces back today, but obviously it was great for her.
Did the race and the trip to California take something out of her? Did she lose some weight off the race?
She lost a little weight when she came back, but Chad said within a week or so she put it back on. Again, I think you really will know probably tonight if it affected her or not. Chad seems to think it didn't. We knew we had 7 weeks or so until this race, so I think we were okay taking the shot, having a little bit longer, and then we'll have again a nice break if today goes well until the Flower Bowl.
Right.
So we felt like it was okay to maybe do the ship because we could spread these races out with a game plan. So obviously the game plan can always change, but this was our plan. I think if he didn't feel like she was doing so well, or it took a little bit more out of her, we probably would have gone to the Beverly D instead.
Right.
But he felt like she was ready to go. So
good. So she's training well. She's coming into the race well.
She's training extremely well. we leave the heavy duty stuff up to Chad.
That's right.
And
that's what you pay him for.
Yep. And he's earned his money. He's done a great job. So we're look, you're nervous, right? I mean, I've got a lot of horses, and this is the only one that I can't sleep the night before, and I get a stomach ache, and all that stuff that used to happen before your first day of school. So we'll see, but we're excited, and hopefully today will end up being a great day.
Well, she broke her maiden here. It'd be pretty meaningful to get her first stakes win at Saratoga this afternoon.
Yeah, it would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to Jay and our partners. It would mean a lot to me. My wife and kids just got here. My wife does not like the Miss Lady Eli races, so
I don't blame her.
So so they're here, which will be great. So we have I think with our whole group between Jay and I, we have about 35 people here.
That's great.
So listen, I mean, it's a brutal race. This is like a mini Breeders' Cup. I think almost any horse in here can win today.
Well, it's Saratoga. It's grade 1. So welcome to the spot.
I know. I was just hoping a few of them would go somewhere else, but we'll see. We'll give it our best shot.
Well, Sal, listen, all congratulations. What a brilliant, brilliant career she's had. Fortunately, it's not over yet. She's got more to accomplish. We hope that begins in this afternoon's Diana. So all congratulations.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Just a terrific ride. And we want to say thank you for spending some time with us this morning by giving you this $100 gift card to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill. It's at 38 High Rock Avenue. It's in downtown Saratoga. They're open every day, beginning at 11:30 for lunch and then for dinner. So take that and be a nice place to celebrate.
Awesome. We might have to show up tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Really appreciate it.
And good luck this afternoon.
Thanks a lot.
Sal Kuhlman, ladies and gentlemen. We are up to our final break. When we return, Mr. Jim Barnes will join us as we go to this break. The 2008 Diana, and a come-from-behind winner who would go on to become a champion. So we'll take a look at the 2008 Diana to the break. Back with Jim Barnes right after these messages.
Byers Lassie, a little skittish there. All settled down, and they're off. And Byers Lassie with some early speed and assumes the early lead. Byers Lassie takes the early initiative. Vacare backs off. Wait a while is up there, edging on through between horses. Dynaforce now has asked for a little bit as they move for the first turn. So the leader is Byers Lassie, and Dynaforce will run second into the turn. Wait a while, third. Vacare fourth toward the inside. Far outside, Chestoria 3 wide into the turn, fifth. Bit of Whimsy, saving ground all the way in sixth. Criminologist is seventh between horses. 3 lengths to Lady Digme. Ruth Ariane at the back of the pack, and the last of them all is Forever Together. So Byers Lassie now opens up a front-running gambit here for Byers Lassie, who opens up a 4.5 length lead early on. 23-2 was that opening quarter, and now that lead for Byers Lassie is more than 6 lengths. Very ambitious run here for her. Dynaforce continues. Second on the inside. Vacare runs along in third. Then it's Wait a While in the clear on the outside, fourth. Bit of Whimsy, fifth. And then Chestoria, sixth on the outside, followed by Criminologist. Lady Digby, Ruth Ariane still at the back of the pack with Forever Together. The half and 46-4. Around the far turn, Byers Lassie trying to steal it. Byers Lassie still clear. 4.5 lengths. Vacare coming through on the inside of Dynaforce. Wait a While is well within striking range. Now only 3.5 lengths from the lead. They're gaining quickly on the front runner. Here's Dynaforce on the outside. Dynaforce and Kent DeSormo on the outside striking the lead. Byers Lassie fighting on gamely, but now a half length behind in second. And from last place comes Forever Together. Can Dynaforce hold on? Can Forever Together get there? Yes, she can. From last to first, Forever Together has won the Diana. Dynaforce was second, Ruth Ariane and Vacare.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops.
My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cusano. My thanks once again to Saul Kuhlman for having joined us, and forever together, Jonathan Shepard, Julien Leparoux rallies to win the 2008 Diana, first of two in a row for Forever Together. That year, she went on to be named Champion Turf Female. Final guest this morning is the top assistant in the powerful Bob Baffert operation, which has enjoyed an incredible run over the last couple of years. They've got Abel Tasman for tomorrow's coaching club here at Saratoga, and they got a pretty good racehorse for this afternoon, San Diego at Del Mar. We are pleased to welcome back to Down the Stretch Mr. Jim Barnes. Jim, welcome back to the show.
Glad to be here, sir.
Nice to see you. So tell us, how long have you been the top assistant in this powerful operation?
Well, probably since 1991, quite a while.
Ever thought about going out on your own?
No, not really. No, I'm in a spot where I deal with high caliber horses, and I enjoy that. And I'm very happy. Bob takes very good care of me, and takes care of both me and my wife.
And your wife Dana, an integral part of the operation. Tell our audience about her.
Well, she's instrumental in our operation, because I can send her, as we have in the past, I can send her to Dubai, I can send her on the road, and she gets the job done. Seems to be wherever we send her. She's been with us a long time also.
And she's got a great rapport with the horses.
Great rapport with the horses. If we have a special horse, someone that needs a little extra care, like an Arrogate, he was a little out of control when we first had him, and I gave her the leg up and just said, hey, just go out there and spend some time with this horse. Take as long as you want, go wherever you want. And, he really turned around quickly.
Oh, what a job she's done with him.
Absolutely.
Well, let's start with Abel Tasman. Came to you in a bit of an unusual situation. Not much in her first start for you, and then you added blinkers. Has it helped her focus?
Yes, absolutely. She's a little laid back, and she needs to be, she needs to focus a little bit more, and the blinkers have really helped.
She won the Kentucky Oaks on that wet track. Then she came back here in the Acorn, cutting back to a one-turn mile for our audience. Abel Tasman, number 3. Jim, were you concerned at all about the cutback and the one-turn mile of the Acorn?
At first I was, but then, you get into think about it. You're going into Belmont. Belmont's a big track, big sandy track, big sweeping turns. Talked to Mike about it, and he said there's not a worry in the world. You don't worry about it. Yeah, absolutely. He said you don't worry about a thing. She'll handle the track, and the shorter distance will not be a problem.
And it's not much of a worry when you leg up Mike Smith on a horse.
Absolutely not.
I mean, what's he bring to you guys when you leg him up?
Well, he brings the patience, the skills, the professionalism. You don't have to worry when you give Mike a leg up. He can go to, there's always plan A. You have a plan A. Well, plan A doesn't, rarely works out, so you have to go to plan B. And that's what Mike brings to the table.
Well, you guys kind of ran the tables on everybody this day. This was just a wonderful win for her. While she didn't have trouble, although this was an outstanding ride, I thought. And last week we had Norman Cassie on, and of course you beat Salty this day. And Norman was lamenting the fact they had to take the overland route.
Yeah.
And Mike got through inside.
Absolutely. Mike talked to me about this. He said the rider to the inside of him there was trying to pack him out, and he kept looking back at him. So Mike gave him the move like he was going to go around, and when the boy, he tried to take him out, he dove to the inside, and And wow, what a turn of foot she had that day. I was completely amazed. That was something else.
Now, I read where Bob said we're only going to send her for the coaching club if she's training well. So how did she come out of this race, and how's she been training up to tomorrow's coaching club?
Well, she came out of the Acorn very well, and she had a few weeks rest after that race, just because we did travel. You're going West Coast, East Coast.
Sure.
She ran such a big race. Sometimes it's they can be a little tired after that. So she had a little bit of time to refresh, recharge her batteries, and she showed in her morning workouts that she was the same filly as before. So we said, you know what, we'll take a shot. We'll go ahead and go.
Was the last work in California or the one before that, did she work in company with More Spirit?
That was the last work.
How good was it?
Outstanding. Anytime you can work with a caliber of horse like More Spirit, Met Mile win. That's something in our barn. We do a lot of judging on. He will put 2 top horses together if he thinks it's necessary, just to see where he stands. And she showed him that day that she's ready to travel.
Okay, so how'd she ship and how's she acclimated here at the spot?
Oh, very good. It's a long distance ship, but it's fairly easy. Shipped in well. The weather's been very nice here, so it's she acclimated well. And these kind of tracks seem to suit her, maybe.
Okay.
She's a horse that comes from behind, where California is, speed.
Yeah.
Speed track. So, we're fortunate that she does handle these deep, sandy tracks.
All right, let's talk about a pretty good racehorse in the barn. How does it feel to again have the finest dirt horse in the world in Arrowgate?
Well, it's just the feelings are just very emotional at times, because these are horses they're once in a lifetime horses, So to have another one in the barn come right up after American Pharoah, it's just outstanding.
What a run. The Travers, what a brilliant victory here last year. The Breeders' Cup Classic, running down California Chrome at his peak.
At his peak, absolutely.
Art told us he had never been that good at his peak. The Pegasus World Cup and the Dubai World Cup, that's an incredible run.
Well, to put those string of races together, earned $17 million in 10 months. It's just phenomenal. The horse is doing extremely well. Which it's tough to come back from Dubai and because it does take a bit out of your horse, and you need time, and whenever you do that, it's hard to get them back to their peak level. Steve Asmussen, what a wonderful job he did with Gun Runner to get him back, and it was a long time. It seems like forever since Dubai to get to this point, but we're here, and he runs today. Unfortunately, I'll miss the race, but I'll be able to watch it on TV. He's at home with our home team, and they should handle it.
Well, we're going to take you back to Dubai for a moment. In a moment, we are going to show the Dubai World Cup. And folks, I want you to concentrate on post position 9. That is Arrowgate. Did you have a good viewpoint for the start of the Dubai World Cup?
Oh, absolutely. I was right in front of the gate.
And listen, I got sick to my stomach when the gate opens.
Yeah.
What were your emotions when the gate opened?
I said, oh, geez, we came all this way for this. This is how it's going to go down. And I feel bad because I didn't give the horse enough credit. I gave up on him too soon right out of the gate. And, then I settled down and I said, well, you know what, Mike's on him. We'll see what we can do. And, once he got him to the outside and got him into clear and in his stride, I told Dana, she'll stand there with her, and I said, well, you know what, we're going to be okay, but, still soft fractions up front.
Yeah.
This Gun Runner's got it all his own way. If he wins this race, he's going to have to really be a super horse to do this, to pull this off. And it was just absolutely amazing.
I mean, the break took him out of his game, because while he may not have blazing early speed,
he doesn't have blazing early speed, but he does break.
Yes, he can get himself into the race. All of a sudden, he's got one horse beat. He's got nearly the entire field in front of him. He's taking probably more dirt than he's ever taken before. This was incredible.
Yeah, right about here, I looked over to Dana. I said, "You know what? He's moving. I think we're going to be okay here, but it's still a long ways to go." It's just so different over there because it's a different gate. You don't have a gate guy. You request for a gate man.
Right.
And right before they broke, the gate man jumped out, and the horse just kind of like put his head up and looked up, and the gates opened, and he just was like. It almost startled him almost, and then he was hit from the horse from the inside, came out and bumped him even worse. So, he pulled it off, and he's an amazing animal.
This horse seemingly never gets tired. It looks like the longer he goes, the better it is.
That's what's so special about him is his lung capacity and his stamina. And he wants every bit of a mile and a quarter, a mile and a half. He doesn't, the further you go, he has no bottom to him. Well, at least we haven't found it yet.
That's amazing.
Which we don't want to find. But.
Now, he obviously lays over the field in the San Diego, but it's only 8.5 furlongs. He's coming back from Dubai. You a little nervous about this afternoon?
Not nervous, anxious.
Okay.
Anxious. Because, they are gunning for you. They want to be the guy to beat Arrowgate. And it's a speed, speed's been holding at Del Mar. You want to be probably 1, 2, 3, turning for home there. So, but, Mike knows all that, and taking all that into hand, I'm sure he'll have him placed probably forwardly in the race.
I went on the show one Saturday morning, and I said, as great and as much as American Pharoah accomplished, I personally think at 1.25 miles, Arrowgate's a better horse, and of course that was a sacrilege to say for some people. You were around American Pharoah basically every day. He was your boy. You did a phenomenal job with him. But at 1.25 miles, when they're both on their A games, who's better?
I don't know if I could answer that, because that's a tough question. Maybe the shorter distance, 1 mile and 1/16 and 1 mile and 1/8. Just American Pharoah was maybe a quicker horse away from the gate.
Right. That's why I said 1.25 miles.
Yeah, 1.25 miles. I really don't. I couldn't answer that question because they're both super horses. To accomplish what American Pharoah did in the short period of time of his racing career was just unbelievable. It is so hard to win those 3 races. And I think going into it, we were a fresh horse, which really helped. He really didn't get the first 2 races in Arkansas. They were pretty much very easy races for him, so he didn't have to lay it down. The race that got him ready for the Triple Crown was the Kentucky Derby. He had to lay it down that day, and he did. And after that, he was ready. We didn't have to do anything with him.
He moved forward big time off the Derby.
He moved so far forward off of that race. Going into Baltimore, it's 2 weeks. It's a quick turnaround. So, we didn't have to do much with him. He was ready after that. And then probably the best thing we could have done is go back to our base at Churchill. You can make a mistake of going to Belmont a little too early. It's 3 weeks. It's a big track.
Yep.
And you get caught up, and the press is there, and what are you doing today? How far are you galloping today? I went back to Churchill. We laid low there. Just had a few reporters. It wasn't as bad as being at Belmont. You find yourself maybe doing too much there.
Okay.
It was just, and that horse never really had a home track. Everywhere he went, he had to ship to. So he was a good shipper. I knew we had that going for us. So I was pretty confident we could get it done.
Well, we've got a few others to talk about. We're going to get you out of here because we're running a little bit late, but so we won't look at any video. But let's talk about More Spirit has gotten so good so quickly.
Well, hasn't he?
That mile was outstanding. But Jim, has he tailed off a little bit since that race? Will you be coming for the Whitney with him?
I'm not sure. Bob's he'll be working him, and Bob doesn't like making a decision too early. So after his next work, I think he'll make a decision on what he's going to do. Horse coming off of his 3-year-old year, he needed to mature, grow a bit, in which he did, and I think we campaigned him properly. Going through Arkansas, then we went to Lone Star. Just giving him couple easy prep races just to see where we stood. And, you know, that race that day, that was just, you know, that whole day was phenomenal. I mean, you know, you go to ship to Belmont, you're going to win four graded stakes, 2 grade, you know, it was just amazing. I mean, Mike's going to win 5 races, 2 grade, you know. But, you know, so he's a horse that does well with time between races. And, you know, I think, you know, most of your the top quality horses, they seem to like a little bit of time between races, at least the ones in our barn do. So he'll make a decision. Their main goal would be Breeders' Cup now, and, you know, so he's thinking about that. How many races does he want before that?
Right.
What race would he point towards?
Dirt mile,
most likely, yeah. So, you know, we have some other horses in the barn right now that, you know, they were campaigning. You know, this is the first year we've really had as many older horses as we have right now. You know, from More Spirit to Collected, Dancing Candy, Cupid. You know, the list goes on, and that's just the distance horses. Then we have the sprinter. We have Dre Fong, who's had time off, and he's coming back, and he'll start next week in the Bing Crosby.
Okay, good.
So
good. Is he doing well?
Doing absolutely very well. Yes.
I've been looking at the workout patterns for him. I think 3/4 of a mile the last 3 times.
Right.
Couple
gate
from the
works,
gate, doing
absolutely.
well.
Yes, couldn't be doing better.
That's wonderful.
You know, and our long-term goal there also is Breeders' Cup.
Sure.
Everything now, we're kind of getting into the playoff type season here. Once we get to August, Breeders' Cup's right around the corner. You're looking at 1 or 2 races before then.
Yeah. And you obviously dominated the Travers last year with Arrowgate. You going to come back this year with West Coast?
Yes, I believe that's the plan. Yes,
Okay.
he just won the Los Alamitos Derby.
Right.
You know, he's a different type of horse himself. He's, you know, early in when we were racing him, I think we were putting him too close in the race. We were putting him up just a little bit too close. He's a horse that wants to sit back.
Okay.
And, you know, now we pretty much have him figured out. So he should fit this track, and that's where we pointed him to. And him for that, American Anthem, King Bishop. And, you know, we'll see what else we can.
It's just an embarrassment of riches here. And it's been many years. This is a tremendous run for the barn. It really
absolutely,
is.
Yeah. So we have a strong lineup. And, you know, the main thing now is just keep them healthy and just try to make the right decisions. And we should be all right.
Well, we want to thank you again for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. We appreciate your time very much. All the best this afternoon with Arrowgate in San Diego.
That's right.
All the best tomorrow with Abel Tasman and the coaching club. We'll look forward to the return of Dre Fong next week.
Next week,
the Bing Crosby. And, Jim, we want to say thank you by giving you this $100 gift certificate to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill. It's at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. So while you're in town, use this. They open 11:30 for lunch. Then they remain open for dinner. It's very nice.
Wonderful.
So enjoy that on us.
Thank you
very much. Have a nice
much.
meal. And thanks and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. Because you not only have really nice horses, but you got to have really good help to make all of this
well,
work.
You know, it's a good team that we've put together, and we've been together a long time. So, you know, keep everybody happy, and we don't like changes. Changes usually aren't good.
Well, when you're going this good, you don't want to see too many changes.
No.
Thank you, Jim.
You bet.
All right, let's wrap things up. Let's quickly show you the upcoming stake schedule here at the Spa over the next week, beginning, of course, this afternoon. The Diana, it's Lady Eli, it's Antono. That's going to be a wonderful race. Tomorrow, the coaching club, and again, it's Abel Tasman and Salty round 3. On Monday, the Caress next Wednesday. Chad will send out Paula's Silver Lining for the Honorable Miss. On Thursday, it's the Morrissey and the Smithwick. Next Friday, it's the Restricted Curlin for 3-year-olds, and then a big Saturday at Saratoga with the Jim Dandy, the Amsterdam, the Vanderbilt, and the Bowling Green. All of that coming up over the next week. Time to thank all the folks who helped get this week's edition of Down the Stretch on the air. Back in the control room in Albany, Pat Peretta directed, as well as Dan Hayes here at Saratoga. Our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, Brian Dorenzo, and Mick Richards. Thank you to all of them. Thanks to our guests, Jim Barnes and Saul Kuhlman, and thanks to our sponsors, Pinnell's Restaurant, celebrating 95 years in business at 284 Jefferson Street in Saratoga, and our guest segments, sponsored by Jacob and Anthony's American Grill at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. Enjoy opening weekend here at Saratoga. Have a wonderful upcoming week. And from all of us here at Down the Stretch, we'll see you next week.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.